first session of our new class, which Acharya ji is starting. Acharya Harish ji is starting. We'll start this class with meditation. So we'll devote first 15 minutes to the Patanjali meditation. Let's start the Patanjali meditation with we'll we'll do without mic. I think in the hall everybody can hear me. So let's start. We'll devote as I said, we'll devote the first 15 minutes to Patanjali meditation. Please come. So let a couple of people more are walking in. So we'll wait for them. So let's start the Patanjali meditation. So Patanjali prescribes 3 simple steps for meditation. Step 1 is to discipline our body. So what we mean is sit in a comfortable position. You can sit cross-legged, your hands on your knees, or they can be in your lap. You can be sitting in Dhyan Mudra or in Sukhasana. Whatever is comfortable. So next 15 minutes, we'll be sitting in this position. So step 2, let's move on to step 2. Step 2 is disciplining our breathing. So we'll be using abdominal breathing. We'll do 3 cycles of abdominal breathing to discipline our breathing. Let's start with the first cycle. Breathe out. Hold it out. Breathe in. Hold it within. Breathe out. Hold it out. Breathe in. Hold it within. Last cycle. Breathe out. Hold it out. Breathe in. Hold it within. Now let your body take back its normal breathing rhythm. Let's move on to step 3. So step 3 is controlling our mind. We will use Gayatri Mantra to control or discipline our mind. We'll be reciting Gayatri Mantra 3 times, first in louder voice, then in whispering, and by the third time, we will recite Gayatri Mantra in our mind only. So as we are reciting Gayatri Mantra, we'll try to concentrate our mind, focus it in between our eyebrows, also called the third eye. So once after the third time, we will be in the state of meditation. And during that, if a thought wave hits you, please recite Om in your mind and try to push away the thought wave. If it has entered your mind, please take a deep breath out and recite Om in your mind and throw that thought wave out. So we will stay in meditation until the alarm rings. So let's start with the louder Gayatri Mantra. Om Bhur-Bhuvah Swaha Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodaya. Om Bhurvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodaya.
Gila.
Oh, rub both of your palms together and put them on your eyes. Slowly open your eyes. Thank you. Now we'll have Acharya ji to give the class. Thank you.
Namaste and welcome to the session 1 of Vedic Unified Theory of Matter and Consciousness. This is a new course I have recently designed, and today we are starting with the first session. I think it will be about 10 to 12 sessions. Let me begin with my slides. I'm going in my screen share mode. Just 1 minute. Yeah. Okay. So this is the session 1 slides. The subtitle is Present World Scenario and Introduction to the course as such. Today, as the things stands, the world population is divided, or I should say polarized, between two massive groups that are almost poles apart. Just to give the title, it's one division is of science and the other one is guided by religions that are, as it prevails now, they are faith-based. So let's look at one at a time. If you are on the side of the science, it treats matter alone, the visible world, which is made of small particles, and they are even investigating very small subatomic particles. However, they treat matter and matter only. There is a lot of plus points here. They are quite logical and rational. Hence, it is evidence-based and it has universal acceptance. Therefore, we can say it is a very positive unifying force. It brings all of us together. In many ways, we live almost in the like manner. Communication systems bring us together and so many advantages. The life has become very convenient and comfortable due to the science and technology. Yet there are two major points where modern science is stuck. The first is my consciousness, or the broad question, who am I? And as you know, if I don't know who am I, if I don't know a particular thing I have, if I don't know it well, I can never use it properly. So if I don't know who I am, what this life is, I cannot chalk out an intelligent path of my life. And that's what takes me to the purpose of life. What is this world, which is of course a wonderful world? What is my place in this world? I know I am going to live here for certain years. What am I going to achieve? What should I be aiming at? Science is not able to give us those directions. That's what is attempted by the other group, namely religion and faith. They treat matter and besides that, something which we can just call it as a spirit, taking care of this consciousness and probably how the world came into being so that we can relate and find out what is the purpose of my life in this world. However, they are weak because they may take recourse to certain faith, and that's why religions are mostly faith based. And that's what causes a number of multiple religions. Some followers have adopted certain faith and other groups have adopted another faith. So that becomes divisive, and we know there are a lot of problems, even a lot of wars and battles, things going on, which is very, very bad things for the humanity as large. Most likely they were founded out of compassion by the founder of that particular religion, but more or less most of them exist out of fear. The followers of that particular religion are somehow made to believe if they don't do this, something wrong may happen to them. So this is the two major is divided as of now. As such. The objective of this course, I call it as unified theory of consciousness, because that's what is missing here. What is my consciousness? What is the ultimate seat of consciousness within me, whom I can call that is me, and this is my body? Who is the owner of this body, and so on and so forth. So we are not clear about that, but if there were to be a unified theory of matter and consciousness, ideally it will answer all the questions in a scientific manner and everybody will adopt it. I am trying to say, I am of course on this side, but we are trying to somehow get the solution for these deficiencies. Present theory of present science is with matter alone, we believe consciousness put together, it would be a nice scientific picture for the whole universe. That's the challenge. What is the challenge we have? We should find a set of principles, explain all events seen in the universe, which is, of course, every philosopher, scientist is struggling to. But as I said, science becomes limited because consciousness is still not, it is struggling to define the nature of consciousness. Of course, they are looking into what is happening in our brain, and neuroscientists are trying to get to the mystery of all those things happening in our brain, but there is no clear answer. Basically, we need a set of principles that can explain all that is happening, all this material world, the way it behaves, and conscious beings, the way they behave, want to make their life happier, and all kinds of dynamics that we see that has to be explained with a minimum set of statements which are logical, rational, and also verifiable. So that's what is stated in the second line. It should be logical and rational and verifiable, which can be validated. And not only that, it should be acceptable to our core human nature. In the core of us, everybody goes for love and compassion. we don't like to see somebody suffering. And if we see somebody, we want to lessen his pain. And that relationship from one human being to another is guided by love and compassion. So that sort of principles we are after. So I will say it should meet a whatever that is, those set of principles, they should meet dual scrutiny by head and heart. So head is, so to say, connotation for logic and rationality, and heart is for love and compassion. That is a demand. Of course, it's a gigantic demand. Let's see how far can we go. Then the question I ask is, could it not happen that humanity was managing its affairs in this kind of a manner? It is not that something out of the blue today we think of it. It must have been in vogue at all the times. So I say, could it be that it is readily available and we just have to understand it? And if that is so, how did our ancestors manage their affairs before religions took birth? I am taking the clue because religions that exist today, we are on the science side of science, but we look at the other pole of religions, they have not been there for all the times. Every religion has certain date of birth. In particular, the religions that are existing today are within last 4,500 or 5,000 years ago. The oldest religions are Judaism and Zoroastrianism, and they took birth about 4,500 years. So that gives me a clue. If we go to a time frame before then what was the affair? And let us examine that. And that's the advantage we have, at least I have, because of my background. I can say I am born to a civilization called Indus Valley Civilization. It has a certain unique feature. What strikes me is this is the only, probably, ancient civilization that continues to survive. Otherwise, there are many other ancient civilizations, say those built the Egyptian pyramids, or Mayan civilizations, or Mesopotamia, so many other civilizations. But we don't find people who claim to be following the legacy and heritage of those ancient civilizations. Particular civilization is still surviving. Though it might have gone through massive changes, but its core can be found, and it can. And it is nowadays dated as 8 to 10,000 years old. So definitely it is much older than all the religions came into being. So they were there when no religion existed, but scientific spirit existed. Of course, it was not as advanced as modern science and technology, which of course evolves with time. We can also see 100 years back, the life was different. 300 years ago, life was much different without even electricity, etc. So we have seen there are massive changes in few decades. So at that time also scientific spirit existed and there were advanced mathematics. They knew that the earth is a spherical round ball, the solar system is sun-centered and not earth-centered. They adopted methods of agriculture. They built houses and there was some sort of urban planning. They knew how to and prepare, make cotton clothes, earthen pots and all household things that people need in day-to-day life. So I am trying to say that let this be my starting point. That's why I put a prefix, sorry, the Vedic unified theory of matter and consciousness. but we want to examine it with an open mind and see if it is meeting that dual scrutiny of head and heart. If it meets, then the humanity has a ready-made blueprint. They just have to merely understand it. First, I want to, as you will see in this entire course, of course, that's what the history is saying. If there was a wonderful civilization and they had a ready-made unified theory of matter and consciousness, then how did it decline? And to fill up that space, why the religions took birth and why we are in the today's state of affair where the world is much in turmoil. So how the decline took place, and if there is a decline, then does it make sense to adopt those methods and principles which could not stand to the time, and with the passage of time they went through a decline process. So all that has to be understood, but we will see in this course that even to understand those principles that they followed, we have to come out with our box, from our box slightly. Because a lot of terminology, a lot of terms have lost their real meaning. Almost in every session you will see, I will be talking about this term has this particular real meaning, though today the people take it in this particular different manner. So today I am observing a term called Dharma, which the whole population, even in Indian scenario, use it for religion. But I am trying to tell you, because this term I am using in today's session, this is not religion. Religion we have seen earlier in this slide number 2, which is faith-based, and hence it becomes sectarian, non-universal, and then causes divisions in the humanity. Here, Dharma is not religion. Its basic definition is Vastu Swabhao Hi Dharma. Anything that exists, Vastu is what exists. I am told some part of the slide is not coming. Let's see. I think yes, I do hide, yeah. Thank you, thank you. This is better. So, Vastu is something that exists. It comes from Astu, Asti, existence. If something exists, it has its inherent, intrinsic features, characteristics. That is the dharma of that thing. So that is the real definition of the term dharma. Inherent nature and characteristics of a thing is its dharma. So I just list out certain terms. Some terms are in Sanskrit also, but we will use them once in a while, or if you read a lot of books, you might be familiar with it. So I have put certain pairs. On the left side is the words of things, which is a noun word, and these are the characteristics which are in English grammar called adjectives. So a thing and its characteristics, from grammar point of view, it's called noun and adjective. We also hear what is called naam and roop. So in Indian philosophy, this term comes very often, naam, roop. So naam is the noun, the thing, and roop is its characteristic. Then we have, we can go this way or that way, it doesn't matter. Dharma is the characteristics, as I said earlier, and the thing that exhibits those characteristics is called dharmi. Similarly, good is the qualities and characteristics of a thing, and that thing is called guni. Similarly, there is a word called linga, which is what determines a thing with a particular characteristic, and that thing is called lingi. So these are so many pairs, which stoi means the same thing. Basically, there is a thing in the world, like a chair we see, and if somebody will need the characteristics, a child wants to know what is a chair, his father will say, it has 4 legs, but and particularly a back also, and you can sit on it comfortably. So these are characteristics of a chair. But if you think deep in philosophical terms, thing and its characteristics are one and the same. If I know these are the characteristics of a chair, if I know this is a chair, these are the characteristics. If these are the characteristics that is exhibited by this thing, then this is chair. It is all integral one. It is basically two sides of the same coin. You cannot uncouple the thing from its characteristics. They are together, isn't it? So that is the situation. That's why philosophy becomes difficult. And but I don't want to go into those technical terms. But the point I am trying to make is the term dharma in our philosophy is not religion, though a large fraction of people think so. This is just characteristics of certain things. Let's move on further. This is also we see in the world. Everything behaves according to its dharma. There is nothing in the world, because the thing and its characteristics are all the same, that particular thing always exhibits its characteristics. I put some examples, like the sun that shines. In Sanskrit we call Surya. Somebody asks, what is the dharma of Surya? Emits heat and light. What is the dharma? Characteristics of water? Jal dharma. If I am thirsty, it will quench my thirst. Okay, these are unconscious things. They don't have life, consciousness at least. Let's move on to some others. These animals, they are very close to us. They have consciousness like we have. So cow, what is its dharma? Gau dharma. What is it? To graze grass and give milk. Ashwadharma for horse. It carries some load and reasonably fast speed. That's the meaning of Ashwe, which goes very fast. That is the dharma of Ashwa, horse. Lion, Sinhadharma. It is a predator in a jungle. It eats by killing certain weaker animals or old animals who are susceptible to be hunted. And that's what is the cycle. That determines the life and death cycle in a forest area. So that always follows its dharma. So to say, Sinhadharma. Everything knows its dharma, so much so that they are programmed as if there is a superior force. When these things were made, or a cow or horse, lion, their child is born, it is already, the dharma is embedded in its mind. It can never deviate from it. So they know its dharma and they behave accordingly. That authority is called as Dharma Raj. Raj is for who is governing it, who is the chief executive of the whole universe. Because he determines the dharma of everything, he is called as Dharma Raj. These are all tentative things. We have to prove all this later on. But I am giving you a glimpse of what all you can expect in this course. Now, that being the case, we ask, should there not be a human dharma? The human species, if that dharma Raj is so powerful, it can embed, it can make the dharma of every species embedded in its mind at the time of birth. So a cow, a horse, a lion, tiger, cat, dog, they behave always according to dharma and never deviate from it. Then that same could have been done with us also. So that is what we are exploring now. So we will say there must be one set of principles applicable to all humans. That we will say theoretically is human Dharma. It's not theoretical, it is very much real. We all know our Dharma. Sometimes we have a doubt, but when we are at the receiving end, we expect others to behave exactly as human Dharma. We sometimes forget when we have to do it, but when we expect from others, we know it. What is the human Dharma? So, as far as knowing it is concerned, we all know it and it is not difficult to know it. But this is the challenge. This is the strange feature we have. These are the things I will take up in this course, which modern science is weak or doesn't have adequate correct answers. And as we are saying, we are coming up with a unified theory of matter which is supplement to the science. So science plus some add-ons which can give it as a much better flavor and guidance for the whole humanity. So that is why we are different from other species. How are we different? We have a dharma, yet we are different from all other beings in the universe, billions of things, whether they possess consciousness or not. We are different, uniquely different from all those because we can deviate from dharma even if we know it. That's the freedom we have it. That's how human species are different. And we have to understand this freedom and make good use of it. That's what this course is all about. Somebody may ask, why did that Dharma do it? Why did he not make it happen that we all followed the human Dharma every time? Then we would also be another animal. Is it not? Good animal, but another animal. But we are not like that. That's why we have to go through such a course and think hard how we can improve the quality of life, our own, that of our children, grandchildren, next generation, so that this earth is a more livable place. Otherwise, people are stuck at two dead ends of science and religion. So that is the purpose of this course I have designed. You all have to look into it, examine it properly. And if you all think it is sensible, this is onset of a new journey. We have a task to do. Finally, so I am giving you a glimpse of the philosophy, so you have an idea what to expect. Finally, what an individual executes, having utilized this freedom, is his karma. So these two terms are very important in our philosophy. Dharma is same for all the members of that species. And all the species, their karma is always according to their dharma. Karma and dharma overlaps, same for all the species other than human beings. But we are different from others. We have the choice, and we finally, if we want, even if I know my dharma, when I am filling my tax form, I know my income, but I can write some other figure. So I know my dharma, but I can deviate from. What I finally execute, I do, that is called my karma. And for that, I will be held responsible. And then there is another thing. I will be accountable to the agency who gave me this freedom, and that accountability is law of karma. This is very important to understand. That's how the unified theory is supplementary to the science. Science has all the laws of physics to govern the material world, but we need the law that governs the conscious beings. That is the law of karma. So law of karma has to be added on, and many other features have to be understood. Then we can develop that unified theory of matter and consciousness. I will alternately use the term Satya Sanatana Vedic Dharma. We have devoted time on this term Dharma. Satya means true, Sanatan is eternal, which did not take birth. For it to exist, it doesn't have to have a cause. For anything else that comes into existence, we ask what is the cause of it. Like this is a wooden desk. I can ask when it came into existence, how it came into existence, what are the causes, and so on. But something eternal is causeless. So that's it. There was never a time it didn't exist. So we'll see. We are stating certain things, but I know we will have to prove it at a later stage. That's what is the job in this course. And we put a prefix of Vedic. It is the blueprint is coming from the Vedas. So we will examine the principles of Satya Sanatan Vedic Dharma, if it can guide us in the present as the Vedic unified theory of matter and consciousness. So we are for a ideal unified theory. We are not where we have a bias or prejudice. We are looking at because realization and in short, our Vedic unified. Let's move on. Giving you a glimpse of Vedic unified theory. As I said, there are three eternal entities which comes out from a simple observation. I just gave you this example of a wooden desk. We have put a chair there, a picture, a wooden chair. Everybody knows it is not an eternal object, existence at certain time. So a brief statement would be, Dharma makes a chair out of wood for an end user. The object is chair, and we are making an inquiry, how did it come into existence? These three things have to be there. If there is no wood, no carpenter can make it. If there is no carpenter, wood itself doesn't transform from log of wood to a chair. We can wait 100 years, it will never happen. And even if wood is there, carpenter is there, he doesn't do all this labor just for fun of it. Somebody has placed an order or somebody will make use of it, that end user. So these three have to be there for this chair to come into existence. Some features. Wood is void of consciousness. It is matter, hence called as material cause. This goes through transformation. A log of wood has got transformed into, and we know it. Now scientists tell us anything made of matter is constantly going through transformation. Even this desk, sitting stationary here, but scientists tell us if we look at it, deep inside it, at the molecular level, molecules are moving at a very fast pace. Nothing is stationary in the whole universe. We are sitting on this earth, looks very stable support, but this whole earth is running at 100,000 kilometers per hour. Everything is dynamics here, particularly when it is made of matter. Carpenter is different from wood. He has consciousness. He is the efficient cause. In particular, he has the knowledge, design in his mind, which is he designed, he created, and then he has an ability to act upon that log of wood. He uses certain tools. So this is knowledge and action. These are our technical terms I will be using, jnana and karma. I will minimize the Sanskrit terms, but once in a while I may say it, just because if somebody knows it, he has an advantage. So this is three terms I will use: jnana, knowledge, action, karma, experience, bhog, to enjoy. So this is only a conscious being can have the knowledge to transform a log of wood into chair, and he has the ability to do that transformation. And only a conscious being can be a beneficiary who can enjoy it. One who enjoys it goes through a dynamic spectrum of pleasure and pain. And of course, we borrow things, use all these gadgets to minimize pain and, if possible, maximize pleasures of life. So that is what is the final proof of consciousness called bhog. I feel the pleasure and pain of any experience. So that's what is what we see in the world about a man-made object which has been created in our presence. We see day in and day out all kinds of things are made. But then there is an inquiry about this whole universe. Where did this come into being? What are the causes of it? Which we have to speculate because we are born after this world came into existence. But we learn from something here, from man-made object, and let us not be very arrogant that any man-made object we take pride that I made it, we made it. But when it comes to natural things, we say it gets made by itself. That is not a valid statement, not a rational and logical. Somebody has to make it. Of course, we are in the fashion of saying nature does it, but nature is just a word we have coined, and that's what we will be examining in this course. We are using a word infinite consciousness. There is an infinite consciousness, though I use the term Dharma tentatively, but in this course, mostly I will use this term. Somebody may say, why don't I use the word God, which is used so often? But if I use the word God, many people have different ideas about God. So I want to try to develop this whole theory on a very strong, rigorous ground as much as possible. Because I am also from engineering science background. So, I want every term to have very specific meaning. So I say there is infinite consciousness. The red color means that tallies with Carpenter, makes the universe. I am not using the word creates the universe. Create, some people think out of nothing. I don't want to say that. Makes the universe out of matter. That like he did make it out of wood. This consciousness makes it out of matter. Who is the end user? All these tiny consciousness, like we are one of them. All animals, beings, all species who have consciousness, they are represented by this tiny consciousness. So these are the three eternal entities: matter, tiny consciousness, and infinite consciousness. Here, I should go back here slightly, that the end user doesn't, a carpenter may make a chair for himself also. And it doesn't have to be a carpenter like a bird. Carpenter could make a dog house for dog, isn't it? End user could be another consciousness. Or a bird could make a nest for itself, is it not? All combinations are possible here. But here, that infinite consciousness makes the universe out of matter, which is the smallest fundamental particle spread over in the universe that we don't know how was it available to him at the beginning. But whatever it is, we have no idea. But who is the end user? All these tiny consciousness. They are eternal entities. because they themselves don't get made out of anything. They have to be there without any cause. If you say matter was made out of something, then what was the matter out of which this matter was born? You are just going a step backward, not making anything new contribution. How was this tiny consciousness made? For whom? If tiny consciousness is not there, whom is it made for? So we have to accept they just exist by their inherent nature. And that is what is called Sat. They exist. Sat, existence. Then this TC has another attribute of consciousness, and this we say has another attribute of some kind of perfect finality of happiness, if we can imagine. That is Anand. Just bringing this term, if you club these three words together, so you know this infinite consciousness is what is called Satchidananda. So these are some new terms. If you understand it, fine. Otherwise, no problem. I'm building step by step. So now we have come to Vedic unified theory, and I use another term not to confuse you, but to say these are alternative terminology I will use, scientific spirituality. Again, I hesitate. Like for tiny consciousness, I did not use the word soul or self, this and that. Or I see, I did not use the word God or another. Similarly, I did not want to use spirituality, but still I think I will be using it often in this course. By that I mean the following. So if I ever use the word spiritual, because people in the world thinks if they visit a place of worship of a religious, some ritual they do, they think they are spiritual people. So I will not use the word spirituality in that sense. For me, spirituality is this and only this. What is spirituality for me? A belief which is to be proven. We have to do it in this course. Otherwise, all this goes as a rubbish. We have to prove all this, that a belief this is subject to be proven. IC makes the universe out of matter for the tiny conscious. This is what I believe in. And that is not enough. IC may live somewhere, I live here, I have nothing to do with it. But I am a spiritual being when I have a strong, intense desire to connect to it. And then I know how to connect to it. And that is an integral part of my spirituality. That is the way we will use the term spirituality. That I have slight ability to connect to that I say, infinite, direct, without any intermediate. Every word is useful, important here. So that is why we have made 15 minutes of meditation integral part of this course. So that is a practical, experimental part of this course. And I would like you to absorb that. That is in the direction of disconnecting from my mind so that I may be able to connect to IC. But the necessary condition is disconnection from mind. That's why there is emphasis how to calm our mind. That's why Patanjali defined yoga as yoga chitta vetti nirota. All the fluctuation, modifications of mind have to be subdued. So that's what we are learning. It's a very demanding exercise. And this is theoretical part of spirituality. This is experimental part. So no scientific faculty is complete without both theory and experiment. That is my view, and that's the way I will be presenting it. So I urge you to look at Vedic unified theory as modern science. If science is factual, we should have no agitation in accepting. Fact is fact. What is happening? Gravitational force is a fact. And our great scientists have developed that relationship. gravitational constant m1, m2 divided by r square. That is what is governing the whole solar system, and anything is falling on the surface of the earth because we accept that. So anything that is scientific, that has been validated, is part of this unified. Accept the speculations. Some scientists may say the universe was created like this and so on and so forth, but the entire scientific community has not attested to that. This is still at the hypothesis stage. It is not yet scientific theory. So we will not accept that, obviously. But whatever is scientific theory, that is very much part of our unified theory. But as we say, we want to supplement it with a very important concept that consciousness is not part of matter, it is something non-matter. That's what is Vayu Anilam Ammetam Etadam Bhasmantam Shaya. That entity which is my consciousness is Vayu, is very forceful. Anilam, I will bring all these mantras one at a time, slightly just bringing it out of my temptation. But the word Anil means non-material. So that consciousness is not made of matter. That is a very core philosophy of that Indus Valley civilization. So we need to keep it, but again I say, this is subject to proof. That's what I have said here, subject to their proof. So we have a micro level, a tiny consciousness, and a macro level of infinite consciousness. This is infinitesimally small, this is infinitely large. And that's what we saw in the three eternal entities. Matter is very well understood by our modern science. Consciousness is something, a force. It has three powers, inherent powers, to know, to experience, and to act. We might be making nice robotic devices that has certain sensors, kind of in quotes I will say they know certain things. If somebody is approaching them, the robot knows it, robotic device knows it. And then it may act because of all kinds of computer-based logic and all. Somebody may argue it knows, it acts, but it's never we can visualize a machine that can feel the pleasure and pain like we do it. Even their know and act is not quite theirs. It has been programmed by a human being inside, is it not? So his consciousness has these three very important powers. And that is what this VUT is saying, that non-material consciousness has these three Shaktiyan, that is called, that is never to be visible in matter. But of course, a human being can do all this, not alone, not with TC alone. TC needs the instruments of body and mind. We will examine all those issues later. Let's now, we are coming to the end of this session, today's session. Just want to present to you what you can expect from this. Today I have just given you an overall introduction. Then next time we will see a historical perspective of this Vedic unified theory, or Satya Sanatan Vedic. What was its dynamics prior to 5,000 years, and even in the later phase, and then why it got almost vanished, and why there is a need that we should reopen it. Maybe it does some good to us. And in so doing, we will also look at it, what were the possible cause that it went to a decline. If it was, if something is good, it should be inbuilt that it should survive in its good form. If it declines, then somebody raises a question it did not have sufficient strength to survive in its original positive fashion. That itself is a question mark on that. So we will have to examine all those issues. Then we have to say, who am I? Because that's what we are here for. If I don't know what I am, what my life is, how can I plan my life? Doesn't make sense. So that is the starting point, what a human being is. Of course, there is a lot of similarity between me and other species, animal kingdom. So this is where this VUT is very powerful. It makes very powerful statements how human species are uniquely different. And today I have given you a once glimpse of it in the pair of the word dharma and karma. So we are called as karma yoni. All other species are classified as bhog yoni. We will have to answer all that. So then we see if all this is so designed, and even the universe is well designed, who is that grand designer? Do we need to have any establish any link with him? Those questions should be arising. That will be dealt with here. And then if he exists, then do I have anything to do with it? Then we will see Jnana, Karma and Upasana. Jnana and Karma is relevant for other species, but that's where another unique feature of human beings. We can indulge in or progress in Upasana. That is what we are attempting in 15 minutes of meditation. Then we see how to do it. And that's where the beautiful contribution of Patanjali, and everywhere I will be always criticizing, but don't get me wrong, because love all this so much, it hurts me because people have spoiled their meanings. So today by yoga, everybody takes it as Hatha yoga and all kinds of things. So, everywhere I will be talking, getting mad at, these words have lost their true meanings, like the word Dharma has lost its meaning. So I get angry many times, but please live with it. Let me, try to explain to you what is guiding me, what is so much gives me pain. Then we will see this human life, why there is categorization. All cows are nice, but why the so-called division of labor, four varnas, and why an individual's life? Does it make sense? How to do this jnana, karma and upasana in a systematic manner? What are the human? Why at old age you lose interest in so many things? All these things we have to examine. So up to this, it becomes various aspects of Vedic unified theory. Of course, not going much into details, because I want to do it in about 10 to 12 sessions. Then we will have a good understanding of what this is, and we know where the modern science is. Then how to establish a dialogue with them. These are the issues I will. So, you are attending this course, but I expect from you a lot, not just getting to know it. I want you to assimilate it by the daily practice of upasana and meditation, so that your theory and practice, this becomes part of you. And then it affects your life, it lifts your life, makes it more loftier, and then you want to think like I think, how to move it forward, how to gift it to others in the world who are divided among the two poles of science and religion. So we have to think from all those. And then, if all that happens, what can be that future, hopefully not too far in the future, that spiritual world? How would it look like? And so on and so forth. Let me summarize quickly. Today we have looked at science and religion as two poles apart and trying to establish some ground principles of Vedic unified theory for matter and consciousness, which I want to say it is supplementary to science. I don't care much about religions, but we want to take them, we want to talk to them also. After all, many of them are unknowingly there and so on and so forth because they don't see the light. So it is our duty to show them the light. And if our quality of life is better, that is the proof. That's why I am so much fascinated with it. Theory and experiment. If you just talk about nice unified theory, but your life does not give that message, it doesn't work, is it not? And if your life will emit that message, then people will ask you which principles are guiding you, is it not? So that is very important responsibility. I want you to take it from this course. So we look at it, our unified theory, as supplement to science, supplemented by a concept that consciousness is non-physical. But we are not forsaking our responsibility. All this has to be validated, verified. Satya Sanatan Vedic Dharma. We are borrowing not because of a prejudice or bias. It is a promising blueprint already existing. So let's examine it. Should be examined as the future VUT, as its blueprint readily exists. It readily exists, but as you will see in this course, it does not readily exist. Then you can ask me, why are you saying this double talk? Readily exists, yes, it exists, but it is not, it is near extinct. It is not in the common man's reach. Because a common man, if he reads, opens certain books, he will say Dharma is religion, he will never understand it. So you will see in this course, I will bring it, I will be pointing out these terms have been wrongly understood, these are the right, and I must say, I'm not saying it out of any exotic pride or this, I must say, at least in this century, there is no book on these issues which is fully correct. That is, I am taking a big responsibility to passing to you everything in a correct, accurate manner, which you cannot get in any book, which is published in this particular century. That is the kind of guarantee I give you. So you take this course in earnest, with extreme seriousness, because I will be giving exact, accurate meaning of every term, which is not easy to get. This is my lifetime effort, which I am trying to pass on to you. I have labored very hard, and then I have come to this point to present to you this Vedic unified truth. So a number of distortions, and that will answer why that went into decline. Those all distortions I will be pointing out directly or obliquely. And today I have given you an example that Dharma is becoming. An accurate description of VUT will be provided along with the related meditation practices that can validate consciousness. So this is the scope of this course. Please attend to it with great care and seriousness, benefit from it, and try to give a change in your life. If you think you are perfect, this is not course for you. If you are modest enough to say, I am imperfect and want to improve, yes, this will help you. Every session, if I have time, like I have today, at the end, if time permits, I will just bring out one Ved mantra, which may have relevance to that topic. I like this Ved mantra very much. This is from Rig Veda, 7th volume, what is called Mandal 104th Sukt, 12th hymn. Om Suvijyanam Chikituse Janaya Satcha Satcha Vachasi Paspedhate Tayo Yat Satyam Yat Dijiyas Tadit Somo Avati Antyas. That I have described human life as options. We have the freedom, and intellectually we think we will always have Sat and Asat, the truth and falsehood. Paspadhate, they are competing with one another. There are a lot of temptations. They will attract to us towards the falsehood. A large crowd is going towards the falsehood. But still, any individual human being, tayo yat satyam, out of these two, sat cha asat, this is a compound word, sat cha asat cha vachasi. You evaluate both of them. They are competing. Out of them, tayo yat satyam, the one that is the truth, you should lead according to that, because that will avati, that will protect you, and you should protect the truth. But that is just one side of the coin. You cannot protect truth if you are not ruthless to falsehood. The root, hanti root is to kill. Very strong word has been used. You should kill the falsehood. Not killing the false people, killing the falsehood. Is it? So we have twofold job. Protecting the truth and killing the falsehood. Thank you very much for your attention. We'll meet next week again.
Thank you.
So let me go back to the webinar room. See, I'm using it after a long time. Yes. So I stop sharing. No, again some problem. Yeah. Stop sharing. Now I am in the Google Hangout room. So I should be visible to all those who are attending from distance. Thank you all for joining. We'll meet again next week. And the format will be more or less same. First 15 minutes, we'll do meditation guided by one of you. And then we will spend some time on discussion, session 1. And that's all. Bye.
Bye-bye.